Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sandy Elson, and on behalf of the travel professional community and homebasedtravelagent.com, we welcome you to this Emerald Waterways webinar. Emerald Waterways, the Deluxe River Cruise Company, is a new brand from Scenic Tours, and we're really looking forward to hearing all about it. Before we get started, a reminder that you are all muted, so you'll be able to hear us, but we won't be able to hear you. We do this to cut down on background noise, which can be distracting. We do, however, welcome your questions. Whenever you have a question, you can type it into the question area you see on the right-hand panel of your screen. At the end of the presentation, we will get to as many questions as we can. We are very excited to have Emerald Waterways joining us today. We appreciate that they're so supportive of the travel professional community, homebasedtravelagent.com, and travel agents, and appreciate the time they're taking today to host this webinar. Our speaker today is Randy Goodrich, Marketing and Sales Representative for both Scenic and Emerald. Randy has been in the travel business since 1978. He has owned 2 travel agencies and a web support company. In fact, Randy founded Passport Online. Now, that's a name that a lot of you on the call today are familiar with. Randy is now a consultant with Emerald Waterways and Scenic Cruises and still books some travel for his friends. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Randy so he can get started. I'll be back a few minutes before the end of our time together to ask Randy your questions. Welcome, Randy.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here. Hope everybody's having a great day and selling a lot of travel. And we're going to talk to you today about a brand new river cruise line that Scenic Tours has introduced this year, and hopefully it will fit the needs of some of your clients to get them into the inner parts of Europe and soak up all that culture and history you're looking at right now. This is the Rhine River, and it's one of the more popular cruises. This is actually our first ship, which went into the water near the castle. If you like to look at castles, there's an old castle. This area of the Rhine actually has a lot of castles, every hill, every turn. Fantastic place for your clients to visit. So let me talk to you first about Emerald Waterways, who we are. We are part of Scenic Tours. Scenic Tours is a large international tour company based out of Sydney, Australia. They've been in business over 30 years, doing tours primarily, initially for Australians. They're upscale. They typically provide very 4- and 5-star class type of tours. And they got into the river cruise business in 2008. When the owner, it's all owned by one man, Glenn Moroney, out of Australia, and he wanted to find out what was all this hot stuff about river cruises. So he actually leased a couple cruises, and his clients loved it, but they wanted to have the same kind of experience, the innovative design work, things like that, the luxury inclusiveness that he offers on his tours. So he said, okay, I'll start building ships then. And he did, and he did something kind of unusual. He hired his wife, who was a professional commercial designer, and she was put tasked with the building the ships and designing ships that had new design features, a lot of innovation. And so anyway, she's done that, done an outstanding job. They came out with Scenic Cruises, which now has 11 ships. The ships they built early on at Scenic in 2012, they brought back and added some new innovations to them. And then this year they started Emerald Waterways. So you're now looking at our first ship that went onto the Rhine River just about a month ago. Our second ship is on the Danube now as of just this last week. So we have 2 ships working in 2014, and we'll have 2 more next year. So let me get out of this view, and we'll get into a little bit more of the details. So again, new, bold design, things like that. So the Emerald Sky and Emerald Star are the ships now that are in the water, in the Danube and the Rhine, and we've got some itineraries that go all the way across Europe this year as well. Next year we're going to add the Dawn and the Sun, and actually a 5th ship we're going to lease so we can have some sailings in France, which is very popular. This is just give you an idea of the deck plans. So there are 3 decks where there's cabins, and then you've got the sun deck up on top. The decks on the first level, as you'll see in a minute when I show you the cabin pictures, they just have a high window because these are kind of by water level. These would be your least expensive cabins down here. And then the second and third deck, notice on the back of the third deck, you've got the swimming pool. So that's where that's located. Very innovative design. I'll show you that in a lot more detail. The top deck, the sun deck up there, is got a little putt-putt area as well as a lot of seating so people can enjoy that. Especially going to that Rhine Gorge, you sit back and have some champagne and try to figure out which castle's which as you go by them for an entire day of sailing. It's really quite a cool experience. 182 guests, so we always get that question. So there it is, 182 guests. Comparable ships in this price category, Emerald would be a 4-star plus category, whereas Scenic Cruises is a 5-star plus category. Scenic has 169 passengers, same size ship. Emerald has 182. You'll find some others have as many as 200 passengers. Again, the same size, 443 feet long. So it just has to do with the size of the cabin. 47 crew members, so it's about a little 4.5 or so to 1 cruise ratio. Scenic is more like 3.1 to 1. Some of the highlights on the what we include with the Emerald, the transfers from the airport to the ship, and then from the ship back to the airport. Now they're doing pre and post, but that's both through Emerald. Then we'll take care of all those transfers. If it's done independently, if they get to our hotel in that particular city, we'll give them the transfer to the ship. Otherwise, they're on their own. They have a very innovative design with the onboard pool and cinema. I'll show you that in detail in a minute. And also what they call the open air system, which is the suites have balconies, but the other cabins do not have balconies, but they have this design with, except for the bottom deck, where the window can be raised and lowered. It's very cool. And allows, it's kind of the new age French balcony, you might say. But it's very innovative and very, people love it. All the meals, of course, included. We have a Reflections restaurant that has seating for everybody on board. There's kind of it starts at a certain time and ends at a certain time. They can come and go as they please. There's only one seating whenever they get there, they eat. There's also al fresco dining, which is on the terrace, which is the bow of the ship. And then during the meals, we have complimentary wine and beer and soft drinks, and of course water and whatnot. For lunch and dinner, it's different than Scenic, which includes all liquor, all wine, all beer, any time of the day or night that they want to have it. So a little bit of differences here. They have bottled water. They have a mini bar, a refrigerator in their cabin that would be restocked every day. If you want sparkling water, still water, whatever. They do have short excursions each day that are included. There may be a day like on the Castles of the Rhine there. That's not, we're just cruising all day, so there's no tours. There's some extra tours optional that they can pay for if they want to. Some of those can be booked ahead of time, some once you get on the ship. The owner suites, there's several of those in the grand balcony suites. Do have extra services with room service available, different types. They have balconies as well. So we'll show you that in a minute. Wi-Fi throughout the ship is included, and all tips, port charges, airport taxes, transfers, all that stuff are included, which can save your customer a lot of money. So the design on these new ships is new. It's kind of nouveau, very a little more glitzy than Scenic is a little more traditional, contemporary, whereas this is a little more glitzy than that. So very nice. This is the main desk area looking back into the main lounge. So here's the reception area. When you come in, you can see it's a lot of brightness and whatever. So, picture of the ship itself. This is a swimming pool in the back, very unique, and we'll go into that in more detail. And the top deck, and you see the top two decks here with the windows and whatnot, and then the bottom deck, which is just a small window. So this is the Horizon Bar and Lounge. This would be the primary area that people hang out inside the ship. This is on the third deck, excuse me, second deck. And so this is the area where people gather. It's where there's port discussions, entertainment at night, all that kind of stuff. And in the front of it, in the very front, on the other side of the bar here, I'll show you in a minute, is the alfresco area and very nice sitting area where people can sit inside or outside, eat or have a drink, whatever, and kind of watch the world go by. This is it. So this is the very front part of the ship, outside dining, as well as sitting at this interesting table here across the way, and you're just watching where the ship's going. So hang out there and just dream away. Reflections Restaurant, the main restaurant, as I mentioned, lovely, very bright, light, full windows. Great food selection. This is the wellness center, so that you can get hair appointments, massage, exercise area. Get a lot of exercise during the day on river cruises, so not a lot of people use this, but some people are very into that and might do it first thing in the morning when they come back. You put in a lot of exercise right there. So here's the one-bedroom owner's suite. There's actually 4 of these, 315 square feet, which is a very good size on this type of ship. And it has an actual deck here. This is the window that goes up and down, so there's 2 panes here. You just push a button. And so during the entire trip, it could be cold and wet outside or whatever, and you never have to close your opening to the deck. So you can see it behind the chair here on the right. It's actually a glass, but it's an accordion fold, so you just fold it all the way back. I had the same thing when I took a Scenic trip in October, and it was cold and wet, and I did that. I never closed my opening to the deck, so the deck or balcony actually became part of my cabin. It makes the cabin feel a lot bigger and more spacious, so it's a very cool feature. The suites on board the Emeralds have this particular balcony opportunity, and they've got the mini bar as well. It's going to be stocked with what they want every day, and room service. The Grand Balcony Suite, 210 square feet. This is similar in size to what the regular balcony suites are on the Scenic cruise ship. Very, very nice. Again, has the balcony with the feature where they can just keep the door open and just close the outer window when they want to. This is most of the rooms are going to be like this. They call it a panorama balcony suite. It is actually not an outdoor balcony. It's more of an inner balcony, if you want to call it that, area. It feels kind of like a balcony. It's kind of the new French balcony, where it's all glass, but there's 2 panes and 1 panel goes up and down, so you can just control, the airflow and the ability to look out, whatever, just by pushing the button and make the glass will go up and down. Pretty cool. And these are the staterooms that are down below, at kind of by water level. 162 square feet, which is actually larger than a lot of the others out there, comparable ship size and pricing category. We also do have 2 single cabins. They're 130 square feet, so they're just like this, but they only have 1 bed, a single bed in there, because this is a double. So that's very convenient. I think with the features on Emerald, particularly the pool and the cinema options, that it could generate some interest from families, and so a good option would be to have the family, the couple get one of the balcony suites or a suite, and then if there's one more, a child or a mother-in-law or whatever, they could take one of the single rooms. That works out pretty well. Or if there's 2 kids, they could turn this into a twin here and take one of those. Bathrooms very well appointed, modern, lots of water pressure, good things like that. So, okay, the pool. So let's go in and look at this puppy, and I'm going to go back to the 360 again. This is very interesting design, very innovative. So we're going to Now this is the bar that's by the pool. It's they serve gelato. They'll serve some drinks and beers there in the afternoon. You can see it's got glass around it. The top opens up, and let's just kind of buzz around here and show you kind of the 360 of this area. It seats it's 4 feet deep. The pool is, so it's fine for swimming. Short laps would be work. So it's a lovely area. It's a beautiful city. Now, what happens now here? You get around to the end, so it's not an infinity pool, but it almost looks and feels like one. You can actually be in the pool and just kind of hang out, look at out the back of the ship. So that's pretty cool. Now, what you want to notice here is the floor of the pool. So it looks like a deck, and in fact, it is a deck because in the afternoon they'll take the ladder off first, and then they'll push a button, and this deck will actually rise up to this deck, so that at night it converts into this. So this is under this chair here in the middle. That decking is actually the bottom of the pool that's been raised. The water then goes back down. The next morning they will drop the deck down and bring the water back up. So at night they close it, the windows are all closed up, and this becomes actually the cinema. So we can show you that. Here they've got a cinema going. So several nights a week they'll have a cinema, 2 or 3 nights typically, like a current movie of some type, and they can get as many as 30 to 40 people in here to watch that. Other nights it could be reserved for a private party. People just go up there on nights when there's not a cinema and just hang out. From what I've been told about the first couple of cruises, a lot of people just go up there even after the cinema and just hang out. It's just a lovely area, and they enjoy it a lot. So this, again, I think might attract some younger cruisers, which would be nice. But here again, this is the floor of the pool. It's been raised up. Pretty innovative. And while I'm in here, why don't I show you the restaurant? So this is a Reflections restaurant. This would be the morning buffet breakfast area. But again, huge windows, lots of opportunity to relax, eat, and that's not so cool over there. They're tied up to the side. So this is a wall that you can look out and see, but it's a beautiful restaurant. And it will accommodate everybody on board. And let's see if there's anything while I'm here. So this is the lounge area. This would be an afternoon aperitifs or something like that they're having in the main bar area. This main bar area is quite nice. So I'll show you that here. Bear with me for just a sec. Did I get it? No. Well, we'll go back to that later. So let me show you the stateroom, just so you can see that. Let's go up to the owner's suite, because it's one everybody wants to book. They sell first. So this is the decking area, the balcony, and this is the window that will go up and down. You can see they've got their glass to the deck already pulled back, and they probably won't change that the whole trip. They'll just pull the curtain if they want privacy, and can keep these either open or closed or partially open to bring in some fresh air. So you've got the room in there, you've got the bed, the nice window there as well. Lots of closet space. And this would be a panorama balcony suite. So this is one that doesn't technically have a balcony, but you've got the windows that go up and down, so it's like a French balcony, so you can get lots of fresh air and look out if you want to. Sit there and just look at these castles go by. Again, we're on the Rhine River here looking at one of the castles, many of them. So pretty cool. Very cool. So let's look at, let's go back in and look at the cinema environment. This is state of the art for fuel efficiency as well as environmental issues. It's all state of the art built. So the itinerary. So right now we have one ship on the Rhine and one ship on the Danube. We'll offer a couple 15-day trips between Amsterdam and Budapest. Very popular trip. Gives people an opportunity to go from Western Europe to Eastern Europe or vice versa. We have the Danube, Nuremberg to Budapest this year. We have an 11-day that includes Prague. We have the Rhine from Amsterdam to Basel or vice versa, and then you can add Moselle and add a few more days. Next year we'll be opening up the southern Danube, Budapest to Bucharest, and then also a 17-day Bucharest to Nuremberg, and then the springtime trip that goes into both the Netherlands and Belgium to see the tulips and the bazillion flowers that are blooming in spring. And finally, we're going to be adding a France itinerary. So we can go into some of these if you're not too familiar. But this is for Scenic, the most popular trip. It sells out first, the 15-day, because it takes people through 5 different countries, and as they add a little extension to Prague, 6 different countries. There's 3 rivers: the Rhine, the Main, and the Danube, and a couple canals that transport you from one river to the other, and 68 locks. So there's a lot of stuff going on in this trip. It gives people the chance to really see the inner parts of Europe and the history and the culture of these areas, which is extremely rich compared to what we have in the United States. Pretty overwhelming, actually, but just a great experience for people to get a little up close and personal to the Eastern, Western, and Central Europe. So here's along the Rhine picture. The Danube, again, very, very popular. The 7-day for people that don't have enough time to do the whole thing. So this is a wonderful way for people to experience a little bit of Eastern Europe, and also Vienna. Milk is always a highlight. It's just an unbelievable abbey that was built a long time ago during the Napoleon days. He actually wintered there when he was conquering that part of Europe, but it's pretty outrageous. And right below that, it's a walkout valley, which is really great. So this is the chain bridge in Budapest. That's the Parliament building in the back. At nighttime, it's all lit up. It's just outstanding. Typically, the cruises leave at night, and you go through under this bridge and out north. So lovely. This is adding the Prague extension. Prague is just a fantastic city. I recommend that to anybody. And this is the Charles Bridge in Prague. Then the Rhine. Typically, it's mostly Germany. When you get down to the southern part, you get a little bit of France in there as well, Alsace-Lorraine area. But the Rhine Gorge that I was talking about is between Koblenz and Rudolph. So it's a 1-day trip with all those castles. Kind of a neat experience. So you either start in Zurich or you start in Amsterdam. Pretty easy. Pretty easy from the U.S. to get to Amsterdam. Once in Zurich, either Basel or Zurich. The ship actually stops in Basel, but we transfer you to Zurich. Then all of Central Europe's available, so people will quite often do extensions. That's a little castle in the middle of the Rhine River. So this guy decided he was going to collect his tolls that people going by on either side. But notice how it's built with a bow front, so the river's going down towards the left, so he doesn't get wiped out by the floods and stuff. This is just adding the good wine area of Moselle onto the trip. And then next year we'll be adding the lower Danube that goes all the way down to the Black Sea to more countries, Eastern European countries. This is part of that. It's the Iron Gates area of the southern Danube. And then this is the flower area in the valley. Actually, we go on, there's some canals here. It's not all rivers. It's a pretty cool trip. And then finally, we'll be leasing a ship and taking that into France on the Rhone River. We have clients that like Roman history in particular. It's huge along this way. This Rhone was a major transportation route to get from Paris south. Just a little bit south of Paris before you get on the ship. It's fantastic. You've got Avignon in here, where the Roman Catholic Church moved their headquarters from Rome to France during the 1300s. So a lot of history, and a lot of really good wine, rosé up to reds, and more reds and more reds. So now let's talk a little bit about how you book Emerald. You've got a customer that might be interested in booking one of the Emerald Waterways trips. We have a website, emeraldwaterways.com. You can go there. We have an agent site, which is down in the lower left. Lower left, I believe, there's a link. We need you to sign up for that and get a username and password. And I'll go into that in just a second. But a couple other things here. With the 360 that I was showing, that's available right here. So you can go in, actually go in and look at each one of the cabins, the lounge, the restaurant, whatever you want in detail. And to get more information, there's lots of links here, order brochures, things like that. But I'll go into the agent site real quickly and show you. So you have to have a username and password. So based on that, you log in. That's very important because now we know who you are. We know if you have certain commission levels. If you book a group, you cannot book a group in here. You book it with a group person. But once you have it booked, then when you log in, your group allotment will be there so you can book into it, which is kind of cool. You can go into your account and manage your passwords and all that good stuff. The personalizers, if you've made reservations, you can actually go in on your client's behalf and complete information like the passport information and all that, all the stuff that's required. They call it the personalizer, but we're more used to the cruise lines calling it the guest information form. That needs to be completed, and there are some optional tours that they can sign up for within there. But you're going to go to bookings, and I recommend you do that. And then once you're in here, you just click on. And right here will be anything that's in that you have that you're working on that's not completed yet. So I'll show you. You can actually go in here and actually not book, but actually create a quote and send that to your client. So each one of our itineraries has a booking code. You'll see that in the brochure, and then you simply have to just know the dates, around the dates. So let's say it's going to be next year. It'll give you a couple months, 3 months that are actually, you don't need to worry about this other stuff because the tour itself, the code tells you. So now you have to say, oh, we got 2 passengers. And it's going to come up with what we currently have available. If the date you're looking for specifically doesn't show up, it's not available. Okay. Right now we have lots of availability for next year. But if I click this first one, it's going to show you by cabin category what's available. And then you simply need to go in. You can click on any one of these, and it's going to show you. This is actually a Scenic Cruise, but the same thing. Emerald's in here as well. So it shows you the cabins. When you mouse over the cabin, it's going to show you exactly what the mock-up is of that cabin, so you can talk to your client intelligently about all the little questions that I like to ask. You've got it right there in front of you. You can see the deck, whole 9 yards. And if you want to book it, you can do that. Just select the cabin you want. And so these are the big suites in the back. This is, again, a Scenic ship. But again, same setup. You can actually go through, book it, or you can go through a process and create a quote. So if I select one of these, it's going to then ask me to pick a cabin and go through, do I want to book this tour or do I want to quote? So this is very handy. You can send that quote, and when you're done, you don't have to put the client information in. You can just go past that. There will be a couple questions that they ask you about, whether the client's needing extra assistance of any type or special diets, something like that. But you can go through that process. It takes just a couple minutes, and then email them, and they can take a look at that cruise and then call you and say, okay, that's what we all want. Okay, so that's an area, but again, you're going to need to get the username and password. We need to get all your contact information if you're associated with the consortia. What that is, we don't have any consortia deals today, kind of new, but we're working on it, and so we will at some point. But anyway, that's that. Okay, so the last thing is we have some special offers. that are only good for another week. These are for 2015, so you might want to note these down. For the 12 to 15 day cruises, those are the ones between Amsterdam and Budapest. We have $500 off, and the shorter ones, $250 off per person. And then there is a $250 onboard credit per cabin. Now to book those, all that you need is a $500 deposit, and that's a non-refundable deposit, but it can be changed. They want to change the dates, the itinerary, the names, whatever. We just want to know that if we're going to take a particular cabin out of inventory for them, we want to have them have some skin in the game and be serious about this. But they can change it later if they need to. The final payment, unlike others, some others out there, final payment is due 90 days before departure. So you could book somebody for the fall of 2015. They pay $500 per person. They don't know another thing. If it's September, they won't know anything else until June of next year. Pretty nice. So they do that both with Scenic and Emerald. Contact. So this is the contact information. EmeraldWaterways.com. If it's Scenic, it's ScenicCruises.com. We work together. We're sister companies. The USA operations is in Boston. There's the toll-free number for reservations. That will go either into Boston to the res people we have there. If they're busy, or roll over to our Vancouver, Canada office. So they all speak English. Everything's good. And the number for the office if you need that. And the number for the BDMs. Now, I need to go in and add. We just hired a new BDM in the Northeast. And I'll add that information if you need it. Just email me and I'll get it to you. But there's the Southeast, Charlotte Lawson, which used to be with NCL and some other people. And then Mark Jeanette in the Southwest, used to be with Colette. I mean, not Colette, Contiki. But he handles Southern California and Arizona. We're looking for BDM in the Chicago, Midwest area, and also in the San Francisco, Northern California area at this time. So we're growing pretty rapidly. Me, myself, and we kind of handle everything else. So I'm handling things in the Northwest, Midwest, and Texas, and wherever we don't have somebody. I can't always get there, but I'll certainly talk to you, and I do lots of webinars. So please, scenicrep@gmail.com. That's me. If you have any questions, feel free to send them over my way. You need some help, whatever, just contact us. We really want to work with you. That I'm done with the presentation, and I'll take questions.
Randy, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. I think I speak for everyone saying we're ready to put clients on this boat and escort them as well.
Sure.
I think I missed a little bit of information. The name of the boat that you were showing us, the river cruise boat that you were showing us, is the Emerald Sky?
I believe that's the Emerald Sky. They're all the same. They're identical.
Okay, and what is the passenger capacity?
182.
Okay, excellent. All right, let's get to some questions. Hillary wants to know if you're targeting a specific age group and if this cruise, Emerald Cruises, is appropriate for families with children under 12.
Not really. I don't think any of the river cruise lines are really encouraging kids to go on the cruise. There's a couple reasons for that. There are some dangers getting on and off the boat, and it's just not a great situation. But more than that, it's just probably pretty boring for them. River cruises are very active during the day. We're on the go all the time, doing bus tours, walking tours, things like that. Kids aren't always very interested in that stuff at that point. So we don't really encourage children under 12. Teenagers, quite frankly, this is just me speaking personally from experience, but I would not want to take a teenager that had no interest in culture or history on a river cruise, because that's what it's all about, and so they'd be bored to death and probably a real pain in the side of the parents. But if they are, then yes, I think with some of the innovative designs here that we have with Emerald, with the pool and the cinema, it gives them some more stuff to do. So one of our hopes, and my hopes, is that that we're providing some additional amenities that might encourage families to take river cruises. Typically, right now, it's the 55 to 80-year-old range. And if you remember back 20 years ago, that's pretty much all that ocean cruising was actually probably more than that for the retired people for the most part. And there wasn't a lot of diversity from one cruise line to the other. But now it's a whole different story. You've got just about everything you can think of on different options for cruising in the ocean, and to meet different lifestyles and different budgets, whatever. And I think the river cruising is starting to mature in that direction as well. So we're hoping to bring in more demographics.
And for people who are still interested in bringing children, is there a minimum age for children that are allowed to?
Our minimum is 12.
It is 12, okay.
Yeah.
Robin would like to know if the pool is salt water or chlorine.
It's chlorine. It's regular water.
And also, are there shore excursions included in the price of the cruise?
Yes. Yeah, the shore excursions, every time we're ashore, we have a shore excursion. And then there are some optional ones for some special things that they may want to pay a little extra for.
Okay, and Fran wants to know if this presentation will be available for our agents who are signed in today. May they contact you to have you send them a link to this, or is there another way to get these slides to them?
Well, it's a very large file, the PowerPoints are. The 360 is great. You can just go on emeraldwaterways.com and click on the icon there for the 360, and then you can go and look at all this stuff. And see, I don't know if you guys can see the whole thing, but down at the bottom, I'm looking at the exterior button, but here's an interior. So I can go in there, and if you want to see the pool, just click on it, and there it is. And it will run a 360, or you can move it yourself. If you want to show your client and say, hey, just imagine yourself cruising along the beautiful rivers of Europe, sitting in this pool, looking out, and just watching the world go by. So it's that kind of experience that we want to provide your clients, and that they'll come back with these great memories and thank you for it, and start getting ready to book the next one.
Fantastic. Can you tell us what, this is a question from Margaret, for the rooms that can hold more than 2 people, what's the bedding configuration for that?
We really don't do that. I know it was confusing to me at first too, because in the booking engine they have 3 as an option, but this booking engine is built by Scenic Tours, and so that's really more on the tour side than the cruise side. They really don't set up well for 3 people. That's where the single room would come into play.
Okay, and can you tell us something about the group policy? How many staterooms comprise a group? Is there a tour conductor?
Five staterooms. The 10th person is the tour conductor freebie, and you get more than that, then we'll talk. And that's on the shorter cruises. The longer cruises, I believe the 15th person goes free, so it'd be 7 staterooms on the 2-week or 3-week cruises. Emerald doesn't have the 3-week right now, but we have our own person, Jerry Hamilton, who handles groups, and she'll be happy to talk to you about that. Like I said, once you book the group and you block the space, then you can actually book into it through the booking engine.
David wants to know if you can tell us the contact information for the new Northeast sales, the BDM in the Northeast. Do you have that?
Sure, let me look it up. I haven't even met her yet. So it's Kathy Burke. So Kathy is, can you see that? Kathy.Burke at scenictours.com, 617-888-0137. And add that to the slide.
Yeah, excellent.
And if you want groups, as long as I'm here, there's Jerry Hamilton. So it's jerry.hamilton at scenictours.com.
Fantastic. Frank wants to know if there are FAM opportunities for travel agents.
Of course. So we have a
Right
we have a
answer.
couple. I know, I get it every time. So we have a couple organized FAMs in the spring and the fall that will offer to agents who are selling us and who are marketing us. And we if you really are serious about marketing Emerald or Scenic, you just need to get hold of one of us. We want to put together a marketing plan. We're more than happy to throw some money into the game to do some direct mailings or do some cruise nights, or we're looking at a virtual cruise night that we could do with you and your customers, things like that. We're more than happy to participate in that to help us get the word out to your customers and you get more sales. And if you're doing that, then we're probably going to keep you in the loop on what's happening. We have a Scenic University program that should be out by the end of this month, and you can sign up and learn more about Scenic, and then next one we'll be doing will be for Emerald. That will help. But if you want to do your own FAM on your own, if it's 120 days out or longer, like for next year or for this fall, then it's a 20% discount. It's not great, but it's a discount. But if you're within 120 days and can get up and go, you can go into the booking engine, look at availability, and then contact us. And it's, I believe the rate with Emerald is the same as Scenic. It's $4.99 for the agent, $6.99 for a guest, which is a great deal for these. These are especially Scenic is $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 cruises, so it's a great deal. But you're within that window of 120 days.
That's a very attractive deal. We have a couple of questions about agents in Canada. Can they book? Who do they contact? What's the story with Canadian agents? Is it any different?
Well, the product's the same, but we have our own Canadian sales force. You would need to contact them. Do I have the number here? Good question. I don't have their number handy
Well, you know
right
what,
now,
if
but
you, Randy, if you can
if you
put
go,
your,
if you,
I was gonna
yeah,
say, if
just
you
put
can put your
mine.
contact information back up, and then folks with questions that don't get answered right now can contact you with individual
Yeah, that's
questions.
the Scenic Rep, SCENIC Rep, REP @gmail.com.
Okay, great, thank you. Jean would like to know if you could clarify whether cruise-only transfers are available for clients who are booking their own air.
Yes, if we know your air arrival information, of course. And that in the personalizer, in the tour personalizer, i.e. guest information online form, you can just put in their air arrangements.
Okay, we've had a couple of questions about handicap accessibilities. Is this cruise appropriate for people in wheelchairs for handicap? Do the elevators go to all the decks? And
the elevator goes to the deck. We would recommend if they're totally wheelchair bound, it's a difficult experience for them on any river cruise ship. Getting on and off the ship is challenging. The gangplanks are not very wide, so they need to be helped on and off the ship. The city tours are typically walking tours, a lot of cobblestone and things like that. It's not a great experience for people. So we don't highly recommend that. If they are not totally wheelchair bound, then it's a lot easier. They can certainly get up and around where they need to, and wheelchairs can go in and out. We advise that they probably try to get into more the suite category where there's a little bit more room to move around. But we'll try to accommodate them best we can. We just want them to have an enjoyable experience. So it's kind of a delicate matter, and you're the guy who's going to have to deal with it and kind of help them make that decision. They're getting on and off buses every day. There's walking tours. If they want to just stay on board the ship and just stay there and watch things, they feel comfortable with that, then that's an option. They have a nice pool right here they can hang out in. So it's a tough situation, but we're certainly there to try to help them if they want to give it a try.
Okay, great. Thank you. We've had a couple of people ask if you could repeat the general demographic that is targeted by Emerald. Is what age
Well,
group
we're
generally
we're
goes on?
we're obviously targeting everybody, but the and we're brand new, so we're still learning what our demographic is. The demographic of almost all, I don't think, like I mentioned, the ocean cruise lines, the demographics 20 years ago were not really different from one cruise to the other. There are a couple, Crystal maybe would charge a lot more and have some special features, but nowadays there's really a difference between one cruise line and the other as far as the types of things they include and the amenities. So we're still watching, but in the river cruise business, it's pretty much the 55 to 80. Obviously some younger, some older, but the majority are going to be your baby boomers that are going to take these trips. I, being one, can speak on behalf of them that it seems to me that history and culture have become a lot more important to me. Personally, I've always studied history and culture and stuff like that, but it seems to mean a lot more to me now at my age, knowing I'm approaching my twilight years or whatever. I'm more curious to delve into history, and I think more than even age, it's that kind of mentality. You can have a 20-some-year-old that just loves European history, and I'm telling you that river cruises are one of the best ways to get up close and personal with these famous places with so much history tied to them. So to me, it's more that if I find somebody that really loves history, there's no better way to experience history than the different cultures of Europe than on a river cruise.
I agree. It's great. Uh, Justin wants to know if you can just briefly summarize or give the website address, the travel agent portal, and how an agent would register on that site.
Oops, I thought I wasn't supposed to do that. Hang on just a second. Let's go to the current slide. That's not it. I'll get that slide up. Bear with me for a second.
Okay. We have several other questions, but if you are listening to
Can you
this and
can
you
you
have
see
a
that?
question you want to ask,
Can you see
uh,
my slide? Do I have to put it in the presentation mode?
seeing a contact information slide
Yeah,
for
yeah, that's what.
reservations.
So as far as you would need to contact one of us or the office in general, like info@emeraldwaterways.com, and just provide us with your name, phone number, email, address, IATA number, or CLIA number if you have it, and any consortia affiliation you might have, and then we'll get you set up. We'll send you an email with your username and password, and you're ready to go.
Fantastic. Marie wants to know if she can book air through Emerald for her clients.
Yeah, we are providing air and more air all the time. Another one of the little projects they had me on there for a while, and I got them hooked up because they were new to the U.S., so they didn't really have any buying power in the U.S. with U.S. Airlines. So we have a third party that we work with that focuses on providing a lot of the cruise lines with their air. So we'll be doing more and more of that. That is an option. Sometimes we put in free air. It just depends. That's one of the things we do on specials or early bookings. It's a lot of times just for the lower cabins because the upper cabins sell pretty quick.
And Aaron Zazu would like to know if there are any connecting rooms.
No.
Greg wants to know something about the commission structure, especially if the commission is on the entire fare or if there are non-commissionables included in the fare.
The commission is, we start at 12%, and then depending if you want to put together marketing agreements with us and do some co-op marketing, things like that, we can talk further. The commission is based on everything that's included. So it's yeah, the whole base price of the cruise. There's no NCFs there. Unlike with Scenic cruises, it's totally all inclusive, so everything's included. All the excursions, all the liquor, everything's included. So the and those things that aren't included, if your customer buys them while they're on the ship, then you will not get paid commission on that.
Terrific. David would like to know if in the current itineraries any cruises begin or end in Istanbul.
No. I don't know if any river cruises do. Now, they do have somewhere Istanbul is an add-on. Typically, if you're doing the southern Danube, and then it's a short flight to Bucharest from Istanbul. But we don't have anything right now.
Okay. And Lila would like to know if the ship is open for touring when it's in port.
If you let us know you're going to be there. We've had people already. We had a whole group of people, agents that were on a competitor of ours on a FAM that let us know that they were going to be in Amsterdam when our brand new ship was there, and we made arrangements. They were met. They had lunch. They were shown around the ship. So as long as we know and we can accommodate it, then absolutely we want you to experience the ship.
Wonderful. Tell us something. Jean would like to know about special dietary needs like gluten-free or lactose-free. How is that accommodated?
Yep, just let us know. Again, in the personalizer information form, you can let us know ahead of time that they have some of those requirements, and we'll do everything we can to accommodate that.
Okay. And Kim wants to know, in the single cabins, the pricing structure, is there a single supplement?
It's got a price all by its own, which is less than if they took a regular cabin. The regular cabins, there's no single supplement. It's just double. It's the first two-person cost, but the single supplement is a one-person cost. Hold on a second. I will look and see what the difference is. I haven't actually checked that out. I think I would, but I haven't. If they have it.
If it's difficult to find, again, people can email you and with their questions.
No, I've got one here. One example. It is for a Category E stateroom, which is your regular lower stateroom. It's roughly $2,400 per person, and the single is $3,300. So double would be $4,800. So it's about 50% more than if there's one person of two in a double.
Okay, that's great information. Thank you. We have two more questions, and the first one is from Jean. She wants to know if the boat carries bicycles on board for passengers' use.
Carries what?
Lifeboats?
Bicycles.
Bicycles.
Oh, bicycles. Said lifeboats.
I hope it carries lifeboats.
Well, not really. You're right. You're on a river. You're not very far from shore.
Right, you can swim to shore, right?
Well, they're not very deep either. I don't think the ship would sink entirely. But, excuse me, no bicycles there. Scenic has bicycles, really cool little electric assisted bicycles. Emerald doesn't. There's already some pressure from the Emerald guys saying, hey, we want those bikes. But at this time, you have to accommodate the spacing. Is one of the problems. You have to have the area on the ship to store the bicycles. The electric ones have to be charged every night. So there's a couple logistical things there before we do it, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did do that here at some point.
Okay, well, we will stay tuned and find out. And our last question is from Frank, and he wants to know if all of the crew speaks English.
Yes. Yeah, they're mostly European, and they speak English. On the Danube, on the one I was on Scenic, they spoke good English, and they were a lot of fun. Joked right along with us and whatnot. They're very interesting to talk to, but also very professional. They knew what their job was. They knew how to do it, and that was nice. But they did it with a smile, and they're, it's a great job for them. They love it, and you can tell it.
And that always makes for happy passengers, and vice versa. Happy passengers make for happy crew. Well, that will wrap it up for today. I want to thank very much our guest speaker, Randy Goodrich, Marketing and Sales Representative for Scenic Tours and Emerald Waterways. This has been a fantastic presentation. And I also want to thank all of our travel agents who are listening in today.
Thank you very much.
And if you want to contact Randy with any other questions, he has his slide up there right now with his email address. And we will see you next time. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. Bye.
Thanks a lot. Go out and sell.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.